You ever look at something incredible, something really complex and finished, and just think, how did they do that? Well, behind every polished product, there's a story of chaos, of effort, and of so many hours of work that we just never get to see. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at the unseen work.
This quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? You really got to be in it to understand. It's true for so many things in life, but it perfectly captures what it's like to be deep in a long, hands-on project. It's one thing to see the final result, but it's a whole other world to actually live the process.
Okay, so take a look at this truck. It's getting there, right? You can see it's starting to look like a vehicle again. But this one snapshot, this single moment from October 2025, it hides the real story. It doesn't tell you anything about the journey. To really get it, we need to go all the way back to the start.
And that start, well, it's almost never a nice, clean, organized beginning. No, it's what we're calling the vision in chaos. It's that phase where you know what the final goal is. You can see it in your head, but the reality all around you is, well, it's just a complete mess.
And this chaotic part, it isn't just a quick phase. Look here, on the left, we've got November 2024. Then on the right, 3 months later, it's February 2025. And it's still very much a scene of disassembly. This is that long, slow process of teardown and prep work that you just have to get through.
And this image just says it all. This is the environment where the real work gets done. It's not some sterile lab. It's a garage. It's messy. There are tools and parts everywhere. You have to deconstruct everything. You have to make a mess before you can even start building something new.
Okay, so we've seen the big picture chaos. Now let's zoom in, way in. Because deep inside all that mess, there's an incredible amount of precision going on. Let's take a look at the very heart of this machine.
To really wrap our heads around the complexity, let's just focus on one single part, the camshaft. You can pretty much think of it as the engine's brain. This one rotating piece of metal is responsible for the engine's entire personality. How it breathes, how it makes power, even how it sounds. It is absolutely critical.
And this right here, this is the blueprint for that brain. It's a cam spec sheet. Now, I know it just looks like a bunch of numbers and angles, but every single number on here defines a specific piece of the engine's character. This isn't just data, it's more like the engine's DNA.
Let's just pull one number off that sheet to show you the kind of precision we're talking about. 0.625 inches, that's the valve lift. It's a tiny, tiny measurement, just a little over half an inch. But getting that exactly right is the difference between an engine that screams and a pile of scrap metal.
And this really gets to the core struggle of any big project, doesn't it? It's that constant push and pull, the fight between the perfect plan on paper and the messy reality of actually making it happen. I mean, just look at this. On the left, you've got this beautiful, clean diagram. Every part fits perfectly. It looks so simple. And then on the right, you've got the actual engine bay, the real world. And the entire challenge is figuring out how to make that perfect plan fit into that tangled, greasy reality. So how on earth do you tackle a project this huge? Well, here's the secret. You don't. You don't build the whole thing at once. You just focus on tackling 1,000 small things, one after another. The entire project is built on a series of 1,000 small victories. You're not building a truck. You're building a fuel system. And when that's done, you move on to the air conditioning, then the brakes, then the frame. Each of these is its own mini project. And every time you check one off the list, that's a small victory that moves the whole thing forward. And here is a perfect picture of one of those victories. The fuel tank is in, it's strapped down, it's secure. Now, to an outsider, it might not look like much, but you can bet that on January 23, 2025, this was a huge deal. This was a major step forward. The fuel system was taking shape. And even inside one of those smaller jobs, like installing the camshaft, there's a super detailed process. These aren't suggestions, these are strict rules. You have to check clearances down to 90 thousandths of an inch. You have to use specific oil. You have to follow an exact break-in procedure. Every step is deliberate and has to be perfect. And here's another one of those small victories, much later in the project. The brake caliper is mounted. The wheel is on. Every bolt, every single part you see here, that was a decision. That was an action. This one corner of the truck is the result of hours and hours of work. It's progress, one bolt at a time. So let's bring it all together. We've talked about the chaos, the insane precision, and all those small victories. But there's one ingredient that connects everything, and it's the one we always underestimate. Time. A whole lot of time. This is
the long road to creation.
This timeline really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? The teardown starts in November 2024. By October 2025, that's almost a full year later, it's just starting to look like a truck again. And the detail work goes all the way into 2026. This isn't a weekend project. This is a multi-year commitment.
And that really gets at the core truth of any great project. Real progress is hardly ever some big, dramatic leap forward. It's just the slow, steady, and sometimes frustrating accumulation of effort over time. It's about showing up day after day, week after week, to add just one more piece to the puzzle.
And that brings us to the final thought. You know, this whole thing was about a truck, but the idea is universal. It applies to building a business, learning a skill, creating art, anything. So it makes you wonder, what's the unseen work that you are quietly, patiently building?